foundation of human understanding teaches an observation exercise, often called meditation, which permits you to become objective toward your problems and allows your heartaches, bad habits, fears, and anxieties to be completely eliminated from your life without effort on your part. Until you have begun to practice this exercise, much of what you see and hear on the following program may be shocking and upsetting to you. But if you will listen calmly and with an open mind, you may discover the key to the peace of mind and joy for which you've been searching all of your life. And now, from the foundation of human understanding, here is Roy Masters.
Okay, welcome once again to the program. What infirmity do you have? How many people have infirmities of some kind? Could I ask the name of the what's yours?
Fibromyalgia and anxiety disorder.
Oh,
Extreme anxiety disorder and
is that all?
To me, it's a lot.
That's easy to fix. I can fix that in 10 minutes.
Well, I sure hope so.
But I'm going to hang it out so you get your money's worth. I had a friend, well actually he wasn't a friend, he was a friend of my son, come from a long way away, billionaire. And he says, I hate my brother. He said, I'm not the kind of person who really hates anybody. I'm good-natured, and he is. And he's a Catholic person. And he said, I know it's wrong, but I have a hate and I can't control it. It's taking me over. And I want to kill him, my brother. So he says, I heard from your son and your daughter that you might help me. I said, could you help me in some way? I said, yes. You got 10 minutes? That's all it took, 10 minutes. And I sat him down, and I will sit you down too, as I see fit, as it's appropriate. And I put him in a state which he didn't realize he was in. And I will talk about that too. But I want to show you how quickly you can cure a person. I'm going to give you a little preamble to what you're about to hear and watch. And when I put him in a certain state, which he didn't know he was in, or he didn't know he was out of, because he was in a certain state when he came in. And when he sat down, within a few minutes, he was in a different state. He didn't know he was in a different state. And I asked him to talk about it just a little bit. And he says, my brother and I are having a terrible lawsuit, and he hates me, and I have been a good brother to him all these years, 30 years I've helped him. I said, you're not his brother, you're his mother. You've done too much for him, and you've robbed him. And he says, yes. That realization, he opened his eyes, and he's been better ever since. And it's just like that. He said, I couldn't control it. And here's a powerful man, no weakling, his huge boat, but it couldn't. He said, no, I can control anything, but this is getting the better of me. He still doesn't know how I did it. And he asked me, I just went to New York with some business along those lines. And he says again, in front of some very important people, he says, this man did this. How did he? I don't know how he did it. I said to him, and the other people, I didn't do anything. And the answer you might think is you did it to yourself. He didn't do it to himself. He got saved. He didn't know what salvation was. He's Catholic. A very, very, very prominent Catholic devotee. And I know that many of you are Christian here. How many are Christian? How many Jewish? Oh, yeah. Well, I'm Jewish. Christianity is the fulfillment of Judaism. You don't need your damn verses and chapters. You don't have to go, you don't need all that crap. It's all crap. You have to spend your life with a person standing in front of you, that's called a preacher, an intercessor between you and God. You don't need one. Damn the rabbi. Damn the preacher. He's in the way. You must understand that. You have to leave that crap at the door here. You're going to have a direct relationship with God, or you have nothing. Now, it won't be nothing. You'd have a direct relationship with the devil, but you won't know it's the devil. You will think it's your own ideas when he thinks through you. Who understands this so far? Good. So, everything that happens here today, and if I'm still standing up tomorrow, is I don't do it. What happens is that it will surprise me. What happens to you, well, if I may just give a huge example, I think Moses needed a new pair of underwear when he saw what happened to the Red Seas when it opened. I don't think they wear underwear, to tell you the truth, so he's all right. Because he didn't know what was going to happen. He's not the magician. And Jesus says, of myself I can do nothing. The Father within me, he doth it. So he didn't do it. We act as a channel, don't we? So we can be careful, so don't stand in awe of anything that happens here. It's not me. Now it could be, everybody goes home sick as they came. That's your fault. But I don't think that's going to happen. There are some people that are easy to help. Let me just start somewhere. You don't have to raise your hand all the time, but do you know what searching, when Jesus says, blessed are they who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Do you know what that means? I think in Aramaic they would understand it better. Translation is awful in the Bible. Lead us not into temptation. God doesn't lead you into temptation, he leads you away from it. It's all nonsense. There's no word resentment in the Bible. You can't find it. They took it out. They took out the equivalent of meaning, so you'd never find the truth. Bear in mind resentment. So where was I going with that? When I start giving examples, I lose my train of thought. Let me just gather myself, because whenever I give stories,
Searching.
I get, huh?
You said searching. You know what searching is. You were talking
Oh,
about
searching. Yes, searching. Thank you very much. You are listening. I'm just testing you. I don't have any problems. You're just testing you. I don't have any senior moments, of course. So, you say searching? Yeah. Searching means this. All it means, make everything nice and simple. Have you ever remember being a little child and the thought comes to you every now and then, not very strong, just in the back of mind, what's life all about? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Do I see little twinkles in your eye? Yes?
I think it's when you get...
you need to come up front here and not stand behind there and rush to the rescue. Okay.
I think it's when you get tired of the lies and you look for something more meaningful.
Yes, sir? But I'm referring to the little thought. I'm sure you have it. I'm certain, because the way you responded. But all I'm interested in right now is, have you ever had that nagging? Not nagging. It's just there. What is life all about? It's there. It comes to you every now and then. In the midst of your troubles, you may forget even to think that you have it. And as a matter of fact, you may not even think of it as very important, because you could be so screwed up that you may have forgotten that you ever thought like that. But now I'm bringing the subject up And you can kind of remember that. It's there, isn't it? Well, you're qualified to get better. Because there are some people who don't think that way at all. The majority of the world don't think that way at all. And if you do think that way, you're different. And people don't, and they sense the difference between them and you, and they don't know why they hate you. But if you're in a family and you have a lot of spoiled brats, a lot of mean kids, but the parents were more likely to reward their weaknesses or pay more attention to their meannesses and rebellion, and seem to favor that, give that attention. The weak one they reward, the bad one they punish, but you are the one that is punished by everybody in the family. The weak, the strong, the parents. It's almost like you don't belong. It's like your household is like a government. If you see the government only picks the weak ones who are subservient and reward them richly, that's a hypnotic state. Giving a person who is not centered, who is feeble and insecure, they will go for that security. And if you give them $100,000 a year instead of $50,000 a year, working for themselves, and they do nothing, they rather do nothing and just sit and mark papers, and they just like the security, and they will die for you, die for the person who gives that security. That's why this country is in a dangerous situation, because there are beginning to be more people who don't work, favored by those that we give taxes to breed more of them for his own army. See that? And we're hypnotized by taxes. We don't ride up and say we don't have enough, because we're not unified. The country is not unified in God. It's unified in 100,000 different religions, each with a rabbi, each with a minister, each with something that gets in the way and wants to teach you how to think. And education is just as bad. Although religion is good, so I'm talking about religion. Religion is good, the Bible is good, and the universities and the science is good, and the medicine is good. All those things are good, but the people fall short of it. They screw you up, especially in religion. And the kind of people they turn out today, since we're having a socialist government, they don't want you to be better. They want you to be demoralized. They infiltrate the schools, they infiltrate in universities, they infiltrate media, they infiltrate all that to bring your moral tones down. So that when you fall away from, the whole country is living in a hypnotic state, and they do not know it. Now, I don't want to really demonstrate hypnosis if I can help it. I will sometimes, if it will make the point. But a person in a hypnotic state, and now you'll see a reason why I'm talking like this. A person in a hypnotic state does never know they're in it. I can take an educated man within 2 minutes, put him in a hypnotic trance. He doesn't know it's in there. I can make him stand on his head, think he's Napoleon, and he feel perfectly normal with that. Snap my fingers, gets back to what he thinks is normal, and has no memory of it. And if he does have a memory of it, he says, well, I was only kidding. I just felt sorry for him. I'm going to go along with it. And why did you change your shoes when I told you ahead of time that I was going to make you do it? Before he came up, I said, you're going to make excuses. So he says, well, they just felt uncomfortable. I just did. See? He makes excuses for somebody else. I put thoughts in his head, and so he follows out that thought as if it was his own. And then, when the person who made him do it, I'm the villain. I'm his villain. I've taken the place of his villain, that place of a villain. I said, don't you remember that before you came up, you volunteered? I said I was going to make you change your shoes around on your feet and ask you why you're doing this, and you'll say, you'll make an excuse for it. I actually make the person say, why is the audience wearing their shoes on backwards? They're not, they're forwards. He said they're stubborn. Perfectly normal. There's an educated man, wake him up, but he's not asleep. Two phases. Now, all of you are in that. Every person sitting in this room is in that state, otherwise you wouldn't be sick. You wouldn't be here. Shall we stop here for lunch or not? Would you like to go a little bit more? Okay, let's break for lunch then.